All right, Rangers, we've got a stack of news today that'll have you raising an eyebrow, cheering, and maybe even shaking your head a bit. From mystery around those Rangers kits flying off the shelves to the eyebrow-raising chatter about Ryan Kent's possible return, today's updates are loaded with twists and turns you won't want to miss. We're diving into Rangers' bold plans for the January transfer window, with 3 potential signings lined up that could shake up the squad. And wait till you hear about the drama surrounding Vaclav Cerny. He's sharing the impact of recent controversies on his own family. We've even got a bit on Kevin Muscat's hard-hitting non-negotiables and how one surprising question put an end to talks with Rangers management. So stick with me till the end as we break down what all of this means for the club and for us, the fans. Here we go, the old heritage kit drama, eh? Rangers have put out this special 125th anniversary kit, and by the looks of it, the thing's flying off the shelves. It's classic Rangers blue, long-sleeved, sold out quicker than a pie at halftime. But there's a twist. Jack Butland's been spotted in a smart yellow goalie strip from this line, and guess what? They're not selling it. So fans are scratching their heads thinking, what's the point of showing it off if we can't get our hands on it? Now, fair's fair, that's just one small letdown in a season already loaded with some big disappointments. First off, the Rangers faithful had to stomach that 3-0 loss to Celtic back in September. Not exactly what you'd call a memory worth commemorating, is it? And let's not get started on the shaky setup in the club's higher-ups. No CEO, no chairman, and John Gilligan just filling in on a temporary basis. Frankly, it's starting to look like no one's really driving the bus here. Then we've got Philippe Clement, the Belgian boss, hanging by a thread. He's bought himself a bit of time with that 1-0 win against Hearts just now, but it wasn't exactly a performance to shout about. 9 points adrift going into the international break, and you've got to wonder how much longer he'll be in the hot seat at Rangers if the results don't start speaking for themselves. So here's the real question. Just to get the old debate going, should Rangers finally call it a day on Clement, or is it the higher-ups we ought to be looking at? So, Rangers are sniffing around Ryan Barnett from Wrexham, eh? He's a proper standout in their squad, and by the looks of things, he's no stranger to making headlines. Got himself a tidy goal in their 1-0 win over Mansfield just the other week. The word is that Rangers, along with Stoke and Preston, have their sights set on the lad, but here's the rub. Wrexham can trigger an extension to keep him on, so it's not as straightforward as nipping in with a quick bid come January. Now, Barnett's journey is an interesting one. He's gone from a midfielder to a solid right back over at Wrexham, and he's been a crucial part of their push up the League One ladder, not to mention their clean sheet count. But we all know why Rangers might fancy him. There's been more than a bit of grumbling about James Tavernier this season. Despite his dodgy form, Clement's kept him on the pitch, while other lads like Dujon Sterling and Naraisho Kasanwirjo have shown they're more than up to the task. Rangers could make Kasanwirjo's loan permanent, but if they decide not to, Barnett's looking like a solid backup plan. Thing is, it feels like we're gearing up for a shake-up in that backline, doesn't it? So here's one to get the fires burning. Should Rangers finally part ways with Tavernier in January? Or does he deserve one last shot to redeem himself? Vaclav Cerny. Now, there's a story. He had a bit of a nightmare in that 4-1 Lion defeat, missing a clear chance, and when the Rangers faithful let him have it, he couldn't resist gesturing back. Classic case of heat of the moment, isn't it? But Cerny realized his mistake and even took it further by scrubbing his social media after a torrent of abuse, especially since his family was getting dragged into it. It's one thing when fans aim their frustration at a player, but when it spills over to the wife and kids, it's crossed a line. He's owned up to it, though. Hands up. My fault, he says. The lad's been a key player, and let's be honest, it takes a strong character to take that negativity and turn it around. The next match, he went out there, banged in 2 goals, and brought home a 2-0 win. That's how you silence critics. Not by clapping back, but by letting your boots do the talking. It's the kind of spirit we could do with more of at Rangers. No wallowing, no excuses, just getting on with it and showing the fans what you're really about. So here's one to get the debate going. Should Rangers fans be reined in for targeting players' families, or is this part and parcel of playing at the top level? Here we go, the January transfer rumour mill's already in full swing, and it sounds like Rangers have quite the shopping list. Philippe Clement's clearly got his eyes on a serious overhaul, and by the sounds of it, we're not just talking squad fillers. Rangers are linked with some big prospects, from Peterborough's Kwame Poku to Motherwell's young sensation Lennon Miller. Let's take a closer look at these targets, shall we? First up, Poku. Now here's a lad who's making waves down in League One, smashing in a hat trick against Cambridge just before the break. Rangers have been watching closely, but they're not the only ones. A few Premier League clubs are hovering too, so we're going to have to move sharpish if we want him. Thanks to cross-border rules, Rangers might be able to negotiate a nice little deal for him come January, although Peterborough's chairman, Dara McAnthony, would like to cash in around £6 million. Then there's the latest name, lighting up the Scottish Premiership, Motherwell's Lennon Miller. The kid's only 18, but he's already the talk of the league. Rangers have had their eye on him, but there's a bit of a bidding war brewing. Former Rangers keeper Cammy Bell reckons Miller's worth around £8 million, though there's talk he could go for about half that if the deal's done right. Of course, Celtic and even Liverpool are sniffing around him too, so it's not going to be a walk in the park. With Rangers in need of fresh talent and competition for these players heating up, here's the question. Should Rangers be splashing out big on young talents like Miller, or is this another risky gamble the club can't afford right now? In some parallel universe, it could have been Kevin Muscat calling the shots at Rangers instead of Philippe Clement. The Australian was in the running for the job before Clement was brought in, and now his name's come up again, especially with the pressure mounting on Clement as Rangers trail both Aberdeen and that other mob in the title race. Muscat's been successful in Japan and now in China, bagging titles in both countries. Clearly, he's done something right, but he's also got his non-negotiables, a philosophy that doesn't bend for just any club's demands. Muscat's had some frank talks with potential clubs, including Rangers, and it seems his straightforward style puts some clubs off. He's shared that if people question whether his methods will work, he simply backs out. He's got a very clear idea of how he wants his team to play, and when faced with doubters, he reckons it's better to walk than to fit himself into someone else's mold. His approach seems to be working in Asia, where his directors have given him full freedom to build things his way. So here's one for the discussion. With Rangers needing a real shake-up, would Muscat's uncompromising approach be exactly what the club needs, or is it too risky for a team already struggling with consistency? The Ryan Kent saga, who'd have thought it would be back on the table? Philippe Clement's reaction to questions about a potential Kent return certainly raised a few eyebrows. Instead of brushing it off, he admitted he knows all about Kent and has even had talks about the lad in the past. That's got people buzzing, especially with Rangers struggling to keep their wide men fit this season. With Rabbi Matondo and Oscar Cortez out for long spells, Rangers have had to shuffle the squad just to keep things ticking along on the flanks. Now, Derek Ferguson's not having any of it. He reckons Kent downed tools in those last months with Rangers, giving it a half-hearted 50 or 60%. And for a Rangers player, that's a big red flag. Ferguson's calling it disrespectful to the support, saying, you can't just turn your game on and off like a switch. When you pull on that Rangers shirt, you're expected to give everything week in and week out. And that's where he draws the line, arguing Kent's mentality is just not what the club needs. Let's not forget Kent's also got eyes on him from a few unexpected places. Saudi Arabian clubs and even Leyton Orient are reportedly sniffing around, so maybe it's all just noise. But with the January window creeping up, it's bound to stir up the fans. Here's the question that'll get the debate going. Should Rangers give Kent a shot at redemption, or is bringing back a player who checked out on the club an insult to the fans who stuck by him? Comment below what you think about the news. Don't forget to leave a like on the video to help me out. I post videos every day talking about our Rangers, so if you're not subscribed, you're missing out on the latest news. See you soon.